Hello and welcome back, Nephilim. Recently, Diablo 3 has went on sale, and we've seen an influx of new viewers on our streams and new people in the Reddit forums asking what they need to know when they're first starting out. If you didn't see our first video of the playlist on general tips, I'd encourage you to check that out. Next, we're going to talk about how to gear up for the character set you want. The first thing you need to do is figure out, well, what set you want. I do this before I even start leveling. If the set is a seasonal gift, we'll get into that a little bit more later, that makes it much easier to gear for. Either way, we want to make a list of supplemental, non-set item legendaries to support our build that are either worn or in the cube. The ones that are in the cube, we want to keep a special eye out for while we're leveling, assuming we don't get a power level. The level of the item doesn't matter when extracted into the cube. So for instance, while leveling, if I get an Aquilla Cuirass, a Grand Vizier, or a Carini, and I'm building for a Tao's Channeling Wizard, I want to make sure to hold on to those so I can extract it into the cube at level 70. You can find what legendaries you want to keep an eye out for on Diablo Fans or Icy Veins guides. The level of the item when it drops does not matter once it's extracted into the cube. However, if you get an item that's not used in your cube, you don't need to worry about holding on to it once you outscale the level of the item, as that will not be useful for you at level 70. One special thing to note is that some legendaries will only drop from the bounty chest for doing specific acts. So for instance, if you want to get a Royal Ring of Grandeur, you need to do an entire set of Act 1 bounties, and hope that it drops for you in the cube. There are several other legendary items that only drop in specific acts for bounties, and those are listed in the video description below, but just a quick list of some useful ones that you might want to keep an eye out for are the Royal Ring of Grandeur and the Avarice Fan. Those are two super useful items for many builds. Some other less common items that are used in some builds are Sanguinary Bracers, Pride's Fall, and Pandemonium Loop. Those are in Acts 1, 3, and 5 respectively. Act 4 can drop loot from any other act. For a complete list of legendaries from bounties, see the link in the video description down below. Also note that the torment difficulty that you do bounties on affects your drop chance for these items. At T6 you're guaranteed 1 from each chest, and at T13 you're guaranteed 2 from each chest. Also note that you should make a list of legendaries you'll need for a speed farming build too, as the majority of your time will be spent using this and not a pushing build. I'd recommend building out your seasonal gift first and then a speed farming set. However, if there's an available speed farming build with your seasonal gift, then prioritize that first. A list of different speed farming builds are in the video description down below. If anyone knows of any good ones that I missed, feel free to leave it in the comments and I'll edit it in. Once you get to 70, your first and most important step is farming your seasonal gift. Every season you get one gift. You can claim this once regardless of game mode, so if you claim it in softcore, you won't be able to get another one in hardcore. To find how to farm your seasonal gift, click the little map icon in the top right hand corner of your screen above the mini-map. It'll give you a checklist of the different things you need to do in order to unlock your seasonal gift. Note that you should be equipping your items as you go, as they'll give you a significant power boost, especially at the 4-piece set bonus, which gives you a ton more toughness. Use caution when playing in hardcore, however, as nothing is worse than losing your gift to start. With relatively minimal effort, you should be able to get your full 6-piece set in 20 to 30 minutes. If the set you wanted wasn't the set that you get from your seasonal gift, you can now use this set to effectively farm your dream set. Make a list of what legendaries you want to use with your gifts so that you can keep an eye out for those as you go. We're also assuming that you've gotten your cube at this point. If you haven't, you need to get over to the Ruins of Sescheron in Act 3 ASAP to get your cube. As you're doing your next steps, make sure to keep an eye on your death breath count. When you hit 25, use the upgrade rare recipe in the cube. If you don't have a legendary weapon, do that first. Otherwise, I'd upgrade for supplemental legendaries for your gift or speed set. If your gift set is not the set you want to use, I would still recommend getting the supporting legendaries for it, as getting your gift set to be more efficient will ultimately help you efficiently farm for your dream set items. Also, if you get a duplicate set piece that you already have for a set, don't salvage it. Using the convert set item in the cube instead can change that worthless item into a set piece that you need. This will massively speed up the process of collecting for a set. Next, you want to do a single Nephilim Rift to get started. Before you do, make sure you have an emerald in your weapon of the highest quality possible, as well as gems in your armor of the highest quality possible. If you're an intellect based class, use a topaz. If you're a dexterity based class, use an emerald. And if you're a strength based class, use a ruby. Also consider making sure that you have a gem in your helmet. A topaz will reduce the cost of resources, a diamond will reduce the cooldown if you're a cooldown heavy build, and an amethyst will boost your life pool if you are lacking life at this point in the game. Either way, it's time to jump into a Nephilim Rift. If you're on hardcore, you might want to start at T6 if you're new to the game, or T10 or 11 if you're not. Once you get supplemental legendaries, you can easily farm T13, but that all depends on your luck and gift set. Again, if you're on hardcore, use caution, do whatever you're comfortable with. After you've completed your rift, you'll be doing a greater rift of whatever equivalent difficulty you just did. If your rift that you just did took more than 5 minutes, consider dropping the rift difficulty down even further than where you were at. Note that it shows the torment level right next to the rift level, so that can be a helpful guide for what level you should do for your greater rift. Either way, when you finish your greater rift, you're going to get a Bane of the Powerful and some blood shards. The Bane of the Powerful is a very strong starting gem that you'll want to get into your ring or neck slot immediately. This is a gem that will add 15% multiplicative damage right away whenever you kill an elite. If you don't have a socket in your ring or neck slot, make sure you get one. And after this, you want to go back into regular rifts and run those to get some more keystones. Whatever the highest difficulty you can do this efficiently at is what I would recommend. At this point in the game, I would consider 4 to 5 minutes efficient. If your runs are taking longer, drop the difficulty. If you get a puzzle ring at any point, put it into your cube and hit transmute. This will open up a portal to the Goblin Vault. In the Goblin Vault, you'll get gold, goblins, and a boon of the Hoarder from the boss. Either way, after getting 5 greater rift keystones from regular rifts, it's time to start doing some greater rifts. Empower them if you have the gold to. You want to get your Bane of the Powerful up to level 25. This will give you 15% more damage done to elites and 15% less damage taken from elites, in addition to the 20% power buff you get after killing an elite. Don't forget to kill the minions that come with the yellow elites. This damage modifier is multiplicative after a recent patch, and it's a significant source of damage when you're first starting out. You get 1 legendary gem for every greater rift that you complete. Be on the lookout for gems that are used in your speed build, gift build, and dream builds. Regardless, the Bane of the Trapped is an amazing gem that almost every build uses, so hopefully you get lucky and get it early on. After this, it's time to go back to speed farming rifts, either in a group or on your own, to keep farming Death's Breath. It's important early in the season to pick up as many items as you can and salvage often for materials, as you'll need those later on. To really get your set going, spam farming regular rifts is the fastest way to get there. However, taking a little bit of time to do efficient 3 to 4 minute greater rifts to build up your gems for your gift set will really help this go faster, so consider doing this when you need a change of pace. Your goal while doing this is to get each of the gems up to level 25. At this point, it's just about farming. Use your gift setup until you can get your speed setup running. At that point, start using your speed setup. Farm like a madman on regular rifts until you get all your pieces. Don't forget to use the cube in order to convert set pieces when you get duplicates or to upgrade rares. In addition to that, you'll want to be gambling at Kadala. It's optimal to wait to gamble until you have maximum blood shards in your inventory and then gamble them all at once. In addition to that, you should consider gambling in Act 1 as the distance from Kadala to the blacksmith is the lowest in Act 1 compared to the other acts. It's just a little thing, but it saves a lot of time in the long run. In order to raise your blood shard cap, you need to do higher greater rift levels. For every greater rift level you get, your blood shard cap increases by 10. Once you have your supplemental legendaries and legendary gems leveled up as much as you can for your gift set, you should consider doing a greater rift 70 to unlock primals. If you're on hardcore though, use extreme caution as you don't want to lose your set. If you're new to the game, this may seem scary and a bit hard, but it's definitely doable. I usually do my 70 on the first night of the season on hardcore with only 1 or 2 supporting legendaries and my gems leveled up. Ultimately though, this step isn't super necessary, but I'd still recommend doing it as soon as you're able to. Do not rip though on a hardcore character for this, it is not worth it. If you're not sure what primals are, they're basically like ancients that roll with max stats. If you don't know what ancients are, they're legendaries that roll with a higher stat range. So on a regular item, you can get 500 as a max stat on intelligence. On an ancient, you can get 650. On a primal, it's guaranteed to roll at the maximum stat possible for the items. So they're very powerful items, but they're also an extremely low drop chance. So it's not a super necessary step to do early on, but I do recommend doing it as quickly as you can, because the sooner you have it unlocked, the more chances you have for primals throughout the season. Either way, doing a greater rift 70 is a step that you'll do eventually, if not at this point. That's it for this guide. I hope it's helped you get your gear farmed up. The next guide will look at how to optimize your character to push it even further once you have your gear. For now though, I want to say thank you for joining me today, and I hope you consider subscribing if you're not already. Also, if you could take the time to leave a comment down below and like the video, I'd really appreciate that as well. The more activity a video has, the more likely it is to show up on the suggested feed in YouTube, and it really helps out our channel. Thank you so much either way, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye, YouTubes.